In five. Hello, humans. Um, those that are remaining out there. This is Power Report. Dan and Bam with you. I mean that from the humanity of people because it seems that a lot of that has been lost over the past couple of weeks, as we've seen in the media, as we've seen just through actions by certain state governments. Of course, I'm talking about Bosnia, but yeah, Bam. How many times you cried this week?
I haven't cried since 2019, so
How many times have you gone? That's a damn shame this week.
that's like my constant state when it comes to the world. Like people just dead suffering all the time.
Um, what was your least favorite story from this week?
Least favorite? Um, I don't know. Least favorite? That's a weird question.
Well, I can tell you the hey corn pop for president chat. You had my curiosity, now you have my attention. Well, I may have your depression soon. So let's see. But the worst story for me was that Al Jazeera reporter having to react to the news of his family like having to react to that on air. Like that
Well, that
was
worst story is different than least favorite. So you tried to paint me in
okay.
a box there. Nice try. I see what
Okay.
you're doing.
Okay. Worst story. What was the worst story for you this week? But I think that's a weird question to ask too.
I agree. I agree. It's all bad. To be honest with you, I don't keep up with like the numbers and like who's dying and how many people. I don't keep up with that. Like that's I'm not really in. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like obviously, like it's all good, but that's not how I pay attention to what's going on there.
Right. It's morbid to kind of consider these things like it's a scoreboard.
Yeah.
That being said, um I don't have the numbers right now in front of me. I'm trying to get them, but it's like really bad in all forms. I think the thing that was disappointing about that was there's an Axios story that had come out just that morning. They had scooped that Anthony Blinken had warned Qatar to say that, oh, Al Jazeera is going too hard in the paint when it comes to reporting on Israel and Gaza. So they're going to have to stop that. And there's just this eeriness of how the IDF has targeted journalists deliberately before
For years.
and lied about doing it. It's yeah, it's a lot. And I understand the whole thing of like, oh, what's weirder, what's worse, because then you're like ranking like then it's oppression Olympics, right? So I don't mean it in that way. I'm just like, okay, Bam, okay, Bam. Um, yeah, it's just all really rough. I don't know. What did you want to say about it?
Uh, um, One second, one second. Let me check something really fast. One second.
Okay, okay. While he's checking that, I'm gonna try to get the information because there's this whole thing even about the death toll figures where
Sorry.
um no, you're all good. There's this whole thing even with the death toll figures where Biden is advising, hey, remember, we can't really trust the Palestinians when it comes to facts on the ground.
Well, that sounds like an Israeli talking point,
That
but no,
it's an Israeli talking point that's being repeated in America by the highest by Joe Biden. He said, "I'm sure innocents have been killed, and it's a price of waging a war, but I have no confidence in the number that the Palestinians are using." he didn't offer further. I'm reading from a Time article, but he didn't offer any further evidence for skepticism of the Palestinian
Well,
Health Ministry's data.
well, to
But
be honest with you, I wouldn't like. It's still ongoing, and like, there's no way you can count. I mean, I hate to say it like this. There's no way you can count the bodies in real time. You know, when it's a bombing campaign, people are missing also, and you don't know if they're deceased or not. But like, not like defending his position, but just like the reality of a war. Like, you don't know until basically it's over. You know. Um, but I think anybody that knows the nature of these conflicts that happen in Gaza, like you already know what Israel's going to do. Like, they're going to bomb the hell out of civilian areas. They're going to bomb, what they perceive to be as Hamas strongholds. And it seems like, I mean, I saw something that said like they've already started the ground campaign, but then I saw something else that said like they're going to start it soon. But what I think they're doing, which I think I said before, I think that what they're going to do basically is like just bring in some troops in the places that they bombed out already and just make it seem like they're doing a ground thing. Like, I don't think they like actually want to, like, I don't think Netanyahu wants to like lose more people. Like, because if you actually wage a ground war, like an actual ground invasion, like you're going to lose soldiers, and that you already lost like all these civilians. It's going to look bad if you start losing soldiers. So, I mean, obviously, I don't know, but like,
I'm only like the grin I have is that old like movie saying, "You never start a land war in Asia." Like it's but like that notwithstanding, you're exactly right. But I'm not going to repeat the question I posed in our group chat earlier this week, but I will say that I don't think Netanyahu cares that much if IDF soldiers are martyrs. If anything, that's just more useful to him.
I think he cares. I think he cares. I think he's already looking bad. Like, he's already doing bad politically before this, like really bad. When all those Israeli civilians were killed, like that whole thing with Hamas, like whatever Hamas their attack, like that looks bad. Now, bombing the shit out of Gaza, like, okay, cool, like you're getting some get back, but I would imagine those Israeli people are not like the general public is not like, okay, like you redeemed us, like you got revenge for us, like no way, like they lost 700 people or something like that, like that just looks bad, and we've already seen like early in the conflict, like a lot of Israeli people were like yelling at people in the government and like having like issues with people in the government, um, like telling them to get out of this hospital and shit like that, like you didn't protect us. So if you go from that to like, okay, we're going to do a ground invasion, and like we saw what happened in 2014, it wasn't that Israel lost so many soldiers. They just lost enough to make it look bad. Like, you can't get one image of like three Hamas dudes like holding the lifeless body of an Israeli soldier. You cannot.
There was that
Like,
woman who was freed from Hamas capture, and she shook the Hamas like soldier's hand and said shalom to him.
yeah, you can't. I mean,
Like a lot of the people who were captured, like they're victims of Hamas in this case, who are Israeli and Jewish, and people that were hurt were like one of the people in that rave were people who had done like pro-Palestinian work in their lives and devoted their lives to like that cause. And so all their friends are coming out, and in that press conference with the grandmother where the daughter I think was translated, or the woman where the daughter was translating for her, she was saying a pro-peace, like, I don't know if it was like it was just completely counter to what the Israeli like media is propagandizing right now, because it's a right-wing effort there, as it is in a lot of other countries. But This one is particularly right now, particularly today, on a much more violent like tack.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I just like as far as the ground invasion, like obviously the Israeli, the IDF rhetoric was like, we're gonna destroy Hamas, we're going to obliterate them or whatever. I don't think they're gonna do that, but literally Hamas is waiting for a ground invasion. And I don't know if you extended onto the show last week what I was saying in the group chat because I wasn't able to be here last week. But I don't know if you conveyed what I said in the group chat or not. You did not.
I believe I did, but I don't like remember.
Okay.
If I got it out, then yes, I did. But feel free
But
to
you're high.
reiterate.
You're high already. So
Of course,
but
I was high before this.
but aside from the ground invasion that Israel may or may not do in a real way, either way, at this point, Hamas has won. Well, actually, let me take that back a little bit because I'm still reading that like Saudi Arabia, like I don't know how real it is, but it's like there's like I'm seeing some stuff that's saying like Saudi Arabia is still like willing to push with the peace effort with Israel, and I was just like, damn. But like if that's not true, um, which I like, I'm skeptical of that. Hamas, no matter what, they won as an organization who is like separate from the Palestinian civilian public that is being bombed right now. They got a W. They're not going to be obliterated. They're not going to be destroyed. They're whatever they did made it so Israel and Saudi Arabia talks are off currently. Actually, you ended up having a call between Iran and Saudi Arabia. I don't know what happened with that, but
To
like,
buttress your point, they've exposed fissures in the populations, at least. Maybe not so much the governments, but the populations of a lot of Western countries that are showing, at least a lot of younger people and generations are showing more outward support for Palestine than we've seen in previous generations.
well, I think most people support Palestine. Honestly, like, I mean, even in the '80s,
Well, I think
like,
it's showing in the poll, at least in the polling that's being done right now. Like that's always been like right there, but the polling right now, the numbers and specifically the breakdown with younger people are higher than they've ever been in the United States. You're
I would
seeing
be honest with
you're
you.
seeing football games in Ireland, right? Like where people are like chanting.
Well, but that's been happening for forever. Like, and honestly, like, I'm not mad that you mentioned the poll. I do not believe polls. Like, I don't.
No,
Like
no,
me personally,
I
the
think that's
poll
totally
means nothing
fair.
to me.
I think that's
But
totally
like,
fair, but like it's a data point, right?
yeah, but like the general public is for the underdog. Like they used to show in the '80s, like the "We Are the World" videos or whatever. They'd show the Palestinian kid throwing rocks at the Israeli tanks. Like the whole world was against the Israeli government and the South African government at one point. It was literally just America and the UK that still was supporting apartheid South Africa and Israel.
Yeah, who else
Like,
is there?
what do you mean?
You said the US and the UK.
Yeah. Australia. No, but like but like I think like the general public, like either they just don't know about it, but like like you got to be some right wing freak to be like, oh no, Israel. Like most people are like, yeah, no, the Palestinians got a raw deal. They're like they're occupied, and especially in Europe. But although okay, I did see Prince Turki. He is the he's like the head of intelligence, I think, in Saudi Arabia. And he had like some speech he was giving. I don't know where it was. I don't know if it's like the UN or something. I'm not sure, but he was condemning Israel and Hamas. And that didn't seem like a big deal to me. Like whatever, like that's easy. But he did talk about like Hamas undermining the Palestinian Authority. And I was like, ooh, like that's an interesting point, especially when like the Saudi delegation, when they went, like they went to the West Bank to meet with the Palestinian Authority. Like they weren't meeting with like the people in Gaza. Like, most political leaders don't go there. But Bill Clinton did go there, though. I'll give him, and I think he kissed a baby while he was there too. Um, but that was interesting. Like for me, I mean, whatever. I'll just go off.
Do it.
For me, this conflict, like this war, just has like way more geopolitical and like regional consequences because it's like very obvious. It's like Hamas attacked as a response to the talks between Saudi Arabia and Israel. Um, it's not like Israel and Saudi. It's not like Israel hasn't had like talks with other Arab or Muslim countries in the region. I think they have some like diplomatic stuff going on with Bahrain or like Kuwait or something. They like built a synagogue in one of those countries, but that's not really a big deal. Saudi Arabia is a major power in the region, and it's just like we can't have that. So anyway, it's a response to that, and you know, if Israel was to like really strongly weaken Hamas, that's like a great thing for Saudi Arabia. Like that's great for them. Like they weren't fucking with them anyway, and it's a big blow to a big blow to Iran. It's not much of a blow to Hezbollah, but it's a big blow to Iran. Like Hamas is like the last. I mean, I'm getting a little deep in the weeds here, but
No, but
Hamas is like the dare I say only. Hamas is like the only connection Iran as a Shia country, as a Shia Persian country. Hamas is like their only connection to like the Arab Sunni world. Only. And that's a big deal. Like, like during this, I almost feel bad because I'm like really going to go off right now. Like during the Syrian civil war, Hamas, like the whole Sunni world was like anti Bashar al-Assad from Syria. So Hamas as a Sunni organization had to like kind of make a decision, and they made a decision. Their headquarters were in Damascus. They made a decision to leave their headquarters in Damascus and cut their ties with Iran. It didn't last. They were thinking they were going to get backed by Qatar. Qatar couldn't cut it. Qatar got that blockade by Saudi Arabia. This is a lot, but like Hamas ended up having to like basically come crawling back to Syria and Iran's bosom after like the Syrian civil war didn't go the way the West wanted it to. Hamas was like, okay, like we're back with Iran and Syria again, and like Hezbollah, whatever. But like Iran having that connection with Hamas, like gives them some kind of like legitimacy in like the Sunni Arab world, which like they had up until the Syrian civil war. That changed a lot for Iran. That's when like Saudi was putting out like the hella anti-Iran stuff. Anyway, to wrap it up, because I'm feeling I'm boring, Dan. I feel bad.
No, I didn't know because I was gonna ask anyways. Like, what was the connection between Hamas and Saudi Arabia? But you basically laid it out.
There's none really. Like Hamas is an organization supported by Iran, Hezbollah, and Syria. I think they put their headquarters back in Damascus, the capital of Syria. Saudi Arabia is basically like, I don't want to say enemies of Hamas, but like they do not support Hamas. For example, really quick, Hamas was like, after they left the bosom of Iran and Syria, they went like crawling to Qatar. Qatar were like, we got you.
Which part of Qatar did they go crawling to?
Which part of Qatar? Like the country?
No, you said the bosom of Iran. So like there's like,
oh, they went to like the Pearl because that's what they call it, the Pearl. Oh, no, that's Bahrain actually. Anyway, Qatar is like literally just like a little peninsula off of Saudi Arabia, so it's a little kind of like a little small like belly button micro penis.
Yeah, I was gonna say the micro penis.
Yeah, but like Qatar and Saudi Arabia have like their issues. It's just like kind of like differing, like slightly differing ideologies. An ideology that was shared by Mohammed Morsi, who was elected as the Egyptian president after their revolution. Mohammed Morsi was elected like the first democratically elected president of Egypt after like the whole revolution, the whole situation. But what did Mohammed Morsi do not that long after he got that won that election? Two things. One was very suspect to me. He got an IMF loan. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But then after that, he went and visited Iran. And after that, a lot of the Sunni world was like, wow, fuck you. We thought you were one of us. He ended up being, there ended up being a coup against him by who is the person who is the president now of Egypt, Sisi. And Sisi was backed by none other than Saudi Arabia. Who was Trump holding that orb with? The king of Saudi Arabia and Sisi of Egypt. Oh yeah, there might have been another person. Was it 4 or 3 people?
It was 3.
Okay, so yeah, it was Sisi and the king of Egypt. I mean, I'm sorry, the king of Saudi Arabia.
And Melania Trump. Oh, you think I'm kidding?
Was she on the orb with them?
Not on the orb, but directly like behind them.
Okay, because I was like, it would have been like I don't remember her being on the orb, but but like this is my thing about the situation in Palestine and Israel right now. Let's see it. Okay, that's not the picture though. That's not the picture.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is the picture. She's not touching it though.
Yeah, she's not touching it.
But on the left, she's close enough. Is she touching the king?
Oh,
on the left, there is basically military autocratic leader of Egypt, Sisi. Then in the middle, you have the king of Saudi Arabia. Then you have the king of America and the king of Israel, Donald Trump. Okay. But like my thing with this situation, obviously this war, this genocidal war that Israel is waging on the Palestinian public.
Is it a genocide or is it ethnic cleansing?
Who knows? This is my thing. There's more to this conflict than just counting the numbers of the dead. There's more to it. And I feel like people on the left who like care about the situation, and I'm not talking to anybody in particular, have a responsibility to like, I don't expect people to know like about the politics in the Middle East. Like I don't expect people to know that like at all. But like if you don't, like try to find somebody who does and like bring them on your thing, or like play the person that does, who like went and talked on something else, like, because it's important to just to know more than just like Israel's bombing in Palestine. Like it's more important to know, it's important to know more than just like, oh, Hamas attacked and now Israel's killing like hella people, because there's big implications with this stuff. I think I was like going off in the group chat not that long ago, like Saudi Arabia has literally gotten, like, ever since Trump, Saudi Arabia has like actively gotten involved with American politics. Like they're making sure that gas prices are raised against Joe Biden. Like they want Trump in office. Like MBS wants an autocratic leader. Like he don't want America to be like a democracy. Like
it's easier to deal with for sure.
And last time that this happened, like Saudi Arabia hasn't gotten involved in American politics like that. I mean, some people could question 9/11, but Trump sure did early. But hasn't gotten involved in American politics like this since 1973 with the gas crisis. But that was a response to what was happening in Israel. And what happened when King Faisal cut off them cut that oil? He got killed the next year. He was literally murdered the next year. So it's just it's a big deal because Saudi Arabia is throwing their weight around right now. I tweeted earlier, I'm like, MBS is ambitious. Like there's no other, head of state in that region who has that level of ambition. He's doing a lot. Like I was watching a soccer game the other day. Is from Spain, and like at halftime, there's a whole commercial about visit Saudi Arabia, like tourism Saudi Arabia. Like
They just bought a golf league.
Literally, like that's new. Like these things are new, and like these things seem trivial, but like not that long ago in Saudi Arabia, like women had to cover their face, and the religious police were out there like beating people up in the street, and like it was lit out there, and honestly, and at that time, MBS was just like a playboy on like the biggest yacht in the world, buying the biggest bottle of champagne in the world.
Now
Like,
he's
that's
trying to
what
do is now he's trying to do is Roman Roy. I'm cultured, like soldier.
now he was just like in Ronaldo's Instagram the other day. But like, and even with their like soccer league right now, they're trying to like make it like more popular. But aside from like the soft power things, like they're throwing their weight around politically. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't even have like that much of a problem with it if like he wasn't actively like supporting like the autocratic people. Like that part sucks. But if it was just like, yeah, we're opening up Saudi Arabia to the world, like we're done with all the religious bullshit or like most of it. I don't know if they still have public executions there, but when I was there, my friend went to go watch them and he invited me. And I was like, I don't want to go see anybody get their head cut off right there. I don't want to see that. I don't know if they're still doing that. I don't know.
Jamie,
But
can you
they
look that up?
they do get a crowd, or they did at least, and people watch. And this guy with the black hood on, with that big ass sword, is going to cut that person's head right off.
Yes, they still do public execution, according to
Alrighty,
Wikipedia.
some things never change.
Well, let me run this off of Wikipedia. It says execution is usually carried out by beheading with a sword and hanging, but may occasionally be performed by shooting or firing squad. Saudi Arabia performs public execution. Sentences are primarily given on confession. Human Rights Watch says the majority of people are tortured to obtain confession, and courts have not investigated it. As of April 2020, minors who commit crimes will no longer face execution when they turn 18. Instead, they would face a maximum of 10 years in a juvenile detention facility. So Saudi Arabia has gone woke.
Okay. In Saudi Arabia, like if you like, they used to like if you were like a terrorist, like if you were trying to like fight against the government, like you go to the good prison. But like if you're just like some like Pakistani person that like stole something, like you're gonna go to the gulag.
A public beheading will typically take place around 9 a.m. You see, they're really timely about it.
Are they going to say on...
The convicted person is walked to a courtyard near the courthouse and kneels in front of the executioner. A police officer announces the crimes committed by the person and the beheading takes place. The executioner uses a sword known as a sultan to remove the condemned person's head from his or her body at the neck. After a medical examiner inspects the body and then pronounces the convict dead, a police official announces the crimes committed by the beheaded convict once again, and the process is complete. Professional executioners have beheaded as many as 10 people in a single day.
Lord help us. I feel like it's actually later because I feel like it was like after Friday prayer. I kind of want to look at what Bad Lefty was saying here in the chat because it says discuss after. Let me see if there was more that he said actually. No. It goes against the perceived and real sectarianism of Iranian leadership. and the Iranian republicanism and revolutionaryism, which, in my opinion, is a bigger issue to the Gulf monarchies than the Sunni Shia schism, discuss. The Iranian Republican Revolution is a bigger issue. I don't really think that either of those are the issue now. I think it's literally just like dick swinging. Like, it's literally just like, it's literally like, can't we all just get along? Like, why does, like, one of you wants to be the man and the other one wants to be the bigger man, and like they can't just figure it out. Like, it literally, in my opinion, it boils down to that, because obviously it's not about like Sunni Shia, although that is a thing in the region. Shia people are discriminated against heavily in Saudi Arabia.
No.
And I think I told you that story in the group chat where one like very prominent what do you call it? What do you say in English? Muslim preacher? What do you call it in English? Like a prominent sheikh in America who's Saudi. I mean, and he's a big deal these days. And yes, I did screen record this
Imam.
segment. Okay, Imam. Okay, I don't know like what word people know, but he told a story. He told it to like a classroom that's recorded and like gonna get put online. He told these people that he was driving. I think he lived in Riyadh. He was driving to the eastern part of Saudi Arabia where like the Shia people are. And he saw that there was a car accident. Some people like needed help. They were in a car accident and they were hurt. And him and his friend went to help. And once they realized that they were Shia, they left him there to die. He told that, and I screen recorded it in case somebody one day wanted to be like, "Ooh, let's take that off the internet."
Oh wow.
And sadly, he used to be my favorite guy. But I don't think that there's anything in particular like that Iran has done as far as like the revolution. Although like back when it happened, like 79, 80, like that was a big deal. And obviously there was a war with Iraq for 8 years after that revolution. And I do count the Iranian Revolution as a actual revolution. Whatever happened after or not, like it was a true revolution. But I think those days are over. I just think it's just classic dick swinging and just like lack of, solidarity in the face of the true enemy. And I blame Saudi Arabia for that, really. Because Saudi Arabia has always, for forever, it's just been like the 52nd state of America. Like literally just like the same as Israel, just like a satellite for American hegemony in the region.
Except for the September Saudi Arabian rebellion when they went all Texas on us.
Well, no, yeah, but that changed since Trump. For sure that changed. Now they're just helping one side. But it's one of those situations. Like if Saudi Arabia and Iran could figure it the fuck out, the world would be such a better place, and the situation for Palestinians could be like a lot better. And even it doesn't have to be like threats and violence. Like it could just be like, hey, like can we like actually talk about this? Like because like I've said, like America doesn't hold the same power that it used to. Like America can't just like do the shit that it used to do back in the day. Like they would have to be like, yeah, I guess we need to talk now.
This isn't going to go anywhere and this isn't going to be that relevant, but this seems like an entry for China to try to make a play for relevancy because, this is what they tried to do, or at least tried to look like they were doing with the Russia-Ukraine thing. Like, oh, clearly an America-led hegemony isn't going to make peace, so I'm going to work with Putin and try to get him to cool it. These things. I think might try to make an appearance. Like I'm gonna Jared Kushner it and try to fix the Middle East, but it's like I don't think there's gonna be any follow through with it.
Let me tell you why I think like China can't really do anything.
And for the
When,
record, I
when,
agree.
yeah, it's like when's the last time a Chinese soldier put in some work? Like nobody's looking at China like y'all never did shit for years. Like you know, I don't know if that's how people are looking at it over there. Like I don't know if that's how like the people are like looking at them, but it's like what did y'all do? Like at the very least, like them Saudi soldiers were bombing Yemen school buses, like double tapping Yemeni school buses in the past 5 years, and you know flying
So is
missions
America.
and getting like refueled by American jets to bomb Yemen. You know, Iran fought a whole 8 year war in the 80s, and after that, like has had their like proxies in Iraq and in Afghanistan. Russia obviously is like fought and like, but like China is like, are y'all really like? They don't. I just don't think they have like the actual power. I like. It doesn't seem like it to me because what did they really do with the Russia Ukraine thing? Like really, like I seen Xi actually condemn Putin or not Russia. Like yeah, we don't really like that they did that, but like, does it really matter? I don't really feel like people like these people are looking at China as like a real military threat, and maybe that's because like the nature of their economy. Like everybody talks about how the world is depending on China, but it's like I would imagine they're depending on the world too. Like it's would imagine it goes both ways to some extent.
And the way China got to that point was because through globalization, there's been a race to the bottom for labor. And
you want to know how China got there? They sold out the Soviet Union.
yes,
That's what they did.
yes,
They
that's
sided
the
with America over the
capitalization.
Soviet Union.
Yes, that's
They literally like, no, America, you're gonna open it up. We can get some money. We're fucking with you. Fuck those other communists. We're siding with you, Whitey.
they don't have
That's
money.
literally what China did.
Yeah, the whole like public private ownership thing. What they're doing was their cover their ass approach. They could still try to call themselves the Chinese Communist Party, but it's like the Republican wet dream. It's like
Literally.
you have the complete rapacious nature of capitalism, and you have like state power to the sense that if they want someone to just be disappear from the board because they don't like what they said about a certain thing, they can do it. That's the type of big government that Republicans are all for.
For sure. Yeah.
But
I
like
mean,
the one point I want to get through here, lest you think I'm just too high to do this show, is that through globalization, um, there has been this race to the bottom that China benefited from for the past several years. But now that you have a Chinese middle class that is asking for more, that is costing more from a labor perspective, you're getting Indonesia, you're getting Taiwan, or China. You're getting India, you're getting a bunch of other different. I'm obviously kidding, but
bought and sold.
I got Jimmy Dore's guy. He's paying me the big bucks now. No, but China's not like other countries are gonna get. Countries in Africa are gonna start to be able to get off of that like same race to the bottom labor tip too, and so the world's gonna look very different when you have that. China's just trying to not make some of the same mistakes as America did for its 15 minutes of fame as a superpower.
Exactly. Bad Lefty said it good. He said, if you have no buyers, you end up with no sellers too. Like, yeah, I feel like for what it's, I mean, it sounds simple, but, and, I'm not acting like I'm an expert, but like, it just doesn't seem like China has like that real autonomy. Like, they're also relying on selling their goods. And if, you know, worst come to worst and nobody's fucking with them, it's like, oh, we're suffering now. And a lot of things have changed in China financially over the past like like basically like right before COVID. But COVID hit them really bad, obviously. But anyway, like the situation in the Middle East is interesting. You know, the Arab Spring and all that changed a lot. It definitely was not it was not a success story regionally by any means. Basically only for Tunisia, but like aside from that, you know, the countries got worse. Like it was a failure completely. Like basically only Tunisia came out with a democracy, but like, was it worth it for like Libya to be run by warlords and Syria to be completely destroyed, damn near? And you have like an autocratic right wing dude, and I mean you've always had that, but like an ambitious one in Saudi Arabia. You have like they did a revolution in Egypt to get rid of Hosni Mubarak, and they got like the same guy, a military dictator. Like you had a president for a few months, and now you have like the same guy again. Um, and yeah, what Yemen? Like I don't even know what's going on in Yemen anymore. Yeah, it bolstered Erdogan in Turkey, like the Arab Spring, like the Syrian civil war bolstered his power. Um, but yeah, it's and then it ends up affecting the Palestinian people because when you have like Trump did the whole Abraham Accords, and you know once that's you know I think they did some stuff with the UAE and maybe Kuwait. I can't really remember. Alan Dershowitz went to Qatar for a little bit. I feel like that had something to do with like the Israeli government. I was really shocked. I was like, "Holy shit! Really? Alan Dershowitz is in Qatar? Like this shit is wild out here." But but ultimately, yeah, it leads to like the Saudi leadership talking to Israel. I wish I still knew some Saudi people, like just to ask them like what they think about it. But who knows? They might be like scared to talk about it here, even. But yeah, because that's crazy. Like an Israeli government official being in Saudi Arabia is wild.
I have a couple of like hot take things that have happened here. This is going to be the violence part of the episode. Bernie Sanders has not come out in favor of, you know, condemning the overkill. It's currently, 1,400 people in Israel have been killed and 7,000 Palestinians.
Jesus, 1,400 in Israel?
Yes.
God damn, that's a lot, boy. Shit.
It's horrible.
Whoa. I mean, that's 14. I thought it was like 700. 1,400? Oh, Netanyahu's out of there. Oh, he can't come back from that. No way. Are you kidding me? 1,400 Israelis?
So remember,
I don't think that many Israelis.
Bam started this by saying that he didn't care about numbers, but like he doesn't. We're not looking at the scoreboard here.
Whoa. Hey.
Hey.
Did I say I don't care? But I'm just not like the trauma porn numbers watcher. But
I'm not either. I'm just saying
you shop at Costco. No, I'm not. I'm
got
not
my
saying
Costco
you are.
mangoes right here. The dried mango. You think I like weed?
Look, you said 360 on there. Ain't that from
no.
Amazon? No, I'm joking. But no, 1,400. Like I don't know when the next elections are in Israel. They be having elections every like 3 weeks.
Snaps. They have one of the snap elections.
But ooh. I don't know, like whatever Netanyahu did with like the judicial system, I like maybe that's what can keep him in, but like they're not voting for that fool. Like there's no way. I don't think that many Israelis died in the second Intifada. And that was like years.
Oh yeah. Would you like to see one of the worst um people on this currently.
Huh.
Have you seen David Pakman talk about this?
He sounds familiar. No, I haven't seen him talk about it, but
Okay. Um, he's on the left. He has a radio show, and here's what we're going with. Here's what we're rocking with.
Right now, we have democratic countries who, if they make a mistake or lie, are subject to negative consequences, saying this wasn't Israel. They've released information, radar, audio, video. Internal assessments agree this was not Israel. On the other hand, you have a terrorist authoritarian group with no checks and balances and no consequences for lying, saying it was Israel. And if you don't believe that there's no consequences to lying, there are still members of Congress who on Monday tweeted Israel killed 500 people at a Gaza hospital. Now that it's abundantly clear that it wasn't Israel, they have not deleted their tweets. Some of them have even doubled down.
So that was an attack on Rashida Tlaib. If you didn't see there, because that's who he was referencing in Congress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, David Pakman has been kind of horrifyingly bad the past couple of weeks. That's just the first thing, but go ahead.
But yeah, and it's just like that's what happens when like all you can do is just like count death numbers. Like,
I mean, the suggestion that like, I mean, we just talked a moment ago about Israel, or like, sorry, Benjamin Netanyahu really like effectively removing the court system and like removing the legal system and conveniently right when he's facing a corruption scandal. But for some reason, he's the one who's, okay, this is democracy. This is all good. This is, this is, you get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really add up.
Israel, he was referring to Israel as a democracy there.
Yes.
Or was he referring to other countries?
He was referring to the U.S.
Israel?
No, he was referring to the U.S. and Israel.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, dog, like, let's see if it lasts in the U.S. for what it's worth. And yeah, literally like millions of Israelis protesting for months, like against them losing whatever democracy they have. Like, but also like, you know, it's kind of futile to get caught up on who shot that rocket? Who shot that missile? Like, why did the missile get shot? You know? Who shot it? We don't, whatever, like, it could have been Hamas, Islamic Jihad, or whoever. It could have been Israel. You're going to have good evidence on both sides. But, like, why it's getting shot is Israel's fault.
I have another one you're going to enjoy here. Probably not, but let's see.
We don't support authoritarian regimes. We don't support terrorism. We don't support violence of any kind. And that includes violence coming from Israel to innocent Palestinians. We don't support movements that subjugate women or LGBT people or those who say, I don't want to be part of this religion anymore. We feel terribly for the Palestinians living under Hamas. Lots of the people supporting Hamas in the West would be killed by Hamas or at least subjugated. And that's lost on many of the so-called progressives on the left. So we need to make sure that we don't ignore death and suffering on any side. On any side, it's a disaster. It also has to be recognized that after a terrorist attack, countries will defend themselves. Apply what happened here with Hamas to anywhere around the world, and we would be saying, well, the victims have to defend themselves. Now, do they defend themselves in an appropriate way? Do they even go out? You know, when we were attacked by Al-Qaeda and went to Iraq, did that make sense? No, it made absolutely no sense. And so we can still be critical. We can still be discerning and all of these different things. But the attacks on me as I thought you were a progressive, I want to hear which progressive value I'm not espousing. Actual left.
Let me say this first before I forget. That guy has not seen any progressive or leftist supporting Hamas. He has not seen it. And I don't know if he's a liar or if he's just like talking off the cuff, but like he should be in my opinion is disingenuous because you're also using Israeli talking points at that point. You haven't seen any person like putting kafaya on their face and like waving the Hamas flag. Like you have not seen that. You've seen people condemning Israel, and like they probably before that said that's bad what Hamas did. But like also like, but there it's occupied people, and like that sucks. But like he has not seen one person that he follows that he considers a progressive or leftist. Maybe he's seen somebody like in his mentions, like some anonymous person, but like the people he would like respect or like consider prominent people to some extent on the left of progressive in America, he has not seen one person supporting Hamas. I don't want to call you a fucking liar, but get your shit together, David Pac-Man.
There are people say wild shit on the internet. I'm sure he might be seeing some like wild performance. But exactly. Like the point is that the person's not a leftist; they're just performing online because they think they can post, right?
Yeah,
and B,
that person does not
by
count.
focusing your attention and your analysis on that, you're blowing it up to be something that's bigger than what it is. Then people can go
disingenuous.
Yeah. Then people can go and say, well, this person who's on the left, like it's the Dave Rubin thing. Well, this person on the left is calling this out because he sees it. So now people like Ben Shapiro can go, or obviously it's people on the left and progressives that are all anti-Semitic.
Exactly.
That's the game. If you think it's not the game, I need to get a sorry, here's another one just because we're on this already because
okay, well, let me just say this before you play it. I just really, one thing I really hate is generalizations. And I think it's common for us, like when you talk in
you hate all generalizations?
Watch it. Like when we're talking in the media and you're talking about the news, like it's easy, like just common vernacular to say like, oh, everybody or all the people, like everybody, it's easy to do that because, we just say that when we're talking, but I feel like people should be more careful when they're talking about political situations when they're in the media. And just him saying like people supporting Hamas, it's like, do you mean like you are seeing people that you follow their show or whatever, or their stream, and they're saying like, yeah, like I'm completely support what Hamas did. They should do it again tomorrow. Or you're seeing people like, on your tweet said, fuck you. We rock with Hamas out here on the gang. Like you need to be like not making that into political analysis, or you're just seeing people condemning Israel and correlating that to supporting Hamas. And then it's like, yeah, the people that shouldn't be thinking you're a progressive at that point. You're repeating apartheid state talking points because that's what Netanyahu would say, or Ariel Sharon. I don't know if he's still in that coma or not, but that was a joke. But yeah, he's gonna say like, "Oh, if you're against Israel, that means you support Hamas, you support terrorism, and all this other shit." But like, and he's talking about like, oh, like they're anti-LGBTQ and this, and that. Like, homie, let me tell you, buddy, it might not be like the state thing in Israel, but don't go playing around in some of them Orthodox neighborhoods in Israel. Matter of fact, don't go playing around in some of the Orthodox neighborhoods in New York City. don't go playing around, because this shit is strict. They don't play around. They do honor killings. I remember there was some, I think it was like the mayor of Jerusalem, some Orthodox dude was refusing to shake women's hands. They be having like, oh, the men and women got to ride on the different bus. The women got to wear a wig and all kinds of shit. And I'm not saying, oh, they're bad. I'm just saying that's how they get it cracking. A lot of those Orthodox people, like
it's very conservative.
Yeah, extreme and fundamentalists. It ain't just Hamas doing that, fool. Just because you seen Jerry Seinfeld eating bacon on the show, don't mean that everybody's getting down like that. No, they be getting like a lot of those Orthodox people are very extreme, dude.
Here is the other.
You a progressive. If you are, then how on earth do you stand in favor of an outrageous, terroristic, authoritarian regime that subjugates women, puts its own people in harm's way, uses civilians as shields, opposes gay rights, women's rights, pluralism, diversity of every kind, everything that supposed leftists claim to?
That could all be said about Israel,
like,
and their right-wing government.
I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, I don't know this guy. But it's obvious, like, you're just disingenuous. Like, I mean, and I don't know, like, maybe you just don't understand no, fuck it, I'm not gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. You're disingenuous. You're just repeating Israeli talking points for whatever reason. Maybe you're trying to get your weight up. You know what I mean? Your background ain't that cool. It looks like a shower curtain. The comb over look, like, maybe you go into Supercuts, you need to step your game up. You're trying to get them big bucks by just like correlating people being against Israeli genocide as being Hamas supporters. You show me the Hamas supporter. Like, why don't you just show me the clip of Hassan on Twitch saying, yeah, I support Hamas, or Emma Vigeland saying, yeah, I support Hamas. Like, show me one of these people that said, if anybody was saying that,
or
crazy
Bam
shit,
and Dan saying, I support Hamas, which we both just did.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, if anybody was saying some crazy shit like that, it'd be us. Like, it would be here at the Power Report, which he's never gonna see. It would be us saying the crazy shit.
Hey,
we're not saying that.
God willing.
Like, you didn't. Not yet. No, I'm joking. Like, you didn't see anybody saying that they support Hamas. Like, you never seen that.
Nowhere near enough people to justify going this far in. I want to get to the rest of the clip, though, because we're going off.
Go ahead.
Defend and support the way I do is attacked by Hamas. Aggressive.
That was pretty much the gist of it, actually. But it's been stuff like that from people like him all week long. People on the left who just for some reason with this conflict, their human rights bulb just like doesn't fly off. It doesn't turn on.
Well, I think these people just like never seen the like Israeli side take a L. Like, they just never seen it. I remember when, they were bombing cafes and shit in Israel. They was hitting up nightclubs and shit. Like, Israel has taken L's before. They never really seen it. Like, maybe they're just not old enough, or they weren't paying attention to politics back then. But Israel's taken L's before, like, deserve it. I mean, like, the fighting forces in Palestine have targeted civilians before, just like Israel targets civilians damn near exclusively. So they just might not know how to react. And to be honest with you, there's probably a part of it, and I Bad Lefty called it 2006 Lebanon. It's a different situation, but like Israel was taking some L's then. But Lebanon took the bulk of the L's, let's be real. But I think a part of it is that some of these like well-meaning so-called progressives, when they see the Israeli people, they see white people, and it hits a nerve for them. You know, when they see some white girl crying, it's like, how could you do this to her? You know, the white tears be hitting some of these guys like that. Yeah, well, I like raves. How could they attack a rave? Is because they hate our freedom. It's hitting them like that, I think, and so they're going off. That's what I think too. They can't really relate to the Palestinian side, but when they seem like people that look like them getting harmed, and they look just, they look innocent. They're just like, well, what did they do? She's got glow sticks.
They're giving each other tattoos of symbols they don't understand and can't read.
They were doing this. How can you like, yo, dog? It's a war, fool.
I mean, like it was a rave that they were hosting like close to the border of
like occupied people under military occupation.
What is widely called an open air prison.
Literally, like that's how it go, dude. Like just because you forgot it was a war, don't mean they did.
So
just because y'all forgot.
What the stuff that the stuff that David Pakman enables with content like that gets us to it provides cover for something that's happening in the real world right now, which is people getting fired because of their stances and coming out in support of, even a ceasefire. Calling in support for peace at this point gets you labeled as anti-Semitic.
That's insane.
Because it's like, why is Israel the only country that isn't allowed to defend itself?
They already did. Like they got 7 times as many. Like they already did it. They were like, "Can it be over now?"
They said, they're like, "How come Israel's so nice? We'll turn the water off, like, and warn them, and just do it for. We've already turned the water back on and restored it." It's like, okay, in what other situation are you at war with another people and you get to control all the utilities? You're at war with another people and you control the only 2 ways in and out of that place. You're in war with another people and you tell those civilians to go south of their, 5-kilometer space, and you start bombing the south and the north and the middle.
Yeah. You start bombing the corridor, like y'all can go there, and then you bomb it. And they're going telling them to go to cross into a border that is hostile to them. Egyptians don't got no okay. The Arab countries basically don't want to let Palestinians in, and it's like they say it's because if they leave, Israel won't ever let them back, but. And that's a good excuse, and maybe they're being honest. I don't know, but it's basically they don't want them, but they cover it up as if they leave their homes, Israel's just going to take it over, and they won't,
like Palestinians are Egyptians Mexicans essentially.
Oh, yes,
in the racist way that U.S. conservative and liberals subscribe to that.
Yes, but Egyptians used to be Iraqi Mexicans.
Oh. And never mind.
And actually, the Egyptians were kind of the Mexicans when I was in Saudi Arabia, kind of.
Wow. What about the Moroccans?
Nah, they're different. I mean, people from South Asia got it the worst in those regions, by far. But of the Arabs, Egyptians are getting, but Palestinians get treated really bad in other Arab countries. Palestinians been refugees in Lebanon since forever, and I want to say it was 10 years ago maybe. They just legally were allowed to get work permits. They get treated bad in other countries. It's really funny because I had a Pakistani friend in college, and I used to call him Pac-Man. And so like you're on this dude David Pacman, and so Philippe Gus wrote Pacman. I'm like, damn, that's what I used to call my friend Javad.
Oh. Um, there was a protest in Roblox for free Palestine.
And you know that because you probably started it. Hey
No,
guys.
I wish actually no, I don't wish that I was that good at recruiting children for a cause. I just know that my
Yeah,
I just know that my nephew plays Roblox, and so I enjoy playing it with him.
I'm uncomfortable, but go ahead.
I'm just expressing love for my family. Um, you know,
Right.
but people, I, it's like the worst parts of Palestinian chicken. Like this is what it's kind of turning into. You're just getting these clashes. It's a lot of college students, um, protesting. There's people feeling unsafe, which is never good. College students, like, they have a lot of unformed opinions on these things too. So like, I'm sure ridiculous things are getting said all around, but
For sure.
like,
It's just the responsibility. Like, I don't know how big David Pac-Man is. Like,
pretty
I
big,
don't know. He's
like
pretty
like
big. Okay.
millions on
Oh
YouTube.
wow. Okay. Like, I just feel like it's like your responsibility, like it should be, to just be more responsible, dude. Like,
It's
if you're
irresponsible.
telling it, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's your responsibility to, like, at this point, even the New York Times has done an analysis of what they said about or was like what the Israeli account of the rockets that hit the hospital were, and it's gone from we have video evidence that it was definitely a rocket that was fired by Hamas, which is something that Biden repeated and like a lot of world leaders repeated, and went from that to, oh, actually, it was, we can't tell. It could have been misfired. And now it's the New York Times reports like this bomb was fired 2 minutes, like totally out, like the time doesn't match up with anything related to the hospital. It's just not related at all. There was that release of okay, here's two people talking. Here's some communications that we intercepted where they're talking about committing all these atrocities, and we caught them. So here's the proof. And they release it, and like, even CNN's got to say, like, "Yo, this sounds fake," because it didn't match the accent. It was like, "Hey, Bam, would you like to do a crime?" Yes, I would love to do a crime. This is the
Yeah,
crime I would love to do. It would really be a shame if we were being listened into. Right, right. Good thing we're not. Ha ha ha. Like
yeah.
it's like,
And that's the thing too. Like, Arabs are gonna know like somebody's accent like right away. Like, it's not like you can't get over on them.
yeah, it's like too. Yeah, it's just like too racist in a trench coat, essentially.
Philippe in the YouTube chat said, "I'm dumb. How much does the Israel-Saudi rapprochement really matter for the Palestinians? It seems like Saudi really doesn't help the Palestinians at all anyway." I would just say, just scroll back to the beginning of the of the show, because I talked about that a lot, and Dan was getting annoyed. No, I'm joking. But like that was like the beginning of the show, of the stream, and it's
I,
all there.
I would say around 25-30 minutes, and it was a question that Bad Lefty asked that was pretty similar to that. Yeah.
When I think I was talking about before that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like pretty fast. but
Okay.
but yeah, no, but like yeah, it's in the beginning. We talked about that a lot, and but to sum it up simply, how much does it really matter? It matters a lot.
Yeah. Um. People should not like the immediate equation, the immediate leap to not fully standing with the right wing government of Israel equals anti-Semitism, and that costing people's jobs, their careers. It's weaker than it's ever been, but it's still an incredibly strong force.
For
And
sure.
you have people who are, major celebrities who are starting to sign on to these pro peace, pro Palestinian sentiments, but you just have to wonder, like, what does this do, right? Like, I appreciate it's being done. I appreciate what's being done, but you have people getting out in the streets. You have people who are calling their congresspeople, expressing disbelief and like support. You have people in media who are trying to fight back against this narrative, who are on the ground, but also like us, who are doing these things. Little bits of this help and little bits of this count, just to like help with people's opinions and help turn the narrative on these things. But at a certain point, even though Biden, not to make this a full domestic pivot here, but even though Biden's facing his lowest approval ratings among Republicans, independents, and Democrats right now, and this is polling from just after this initiation with Israel and this like full-throated support, it doesn't seem like the story is going to change. Kind of like you said in the beginning, where we all know how this is going to end. We all know who's going to win, more or less, in this. To your point of Hamas winning ultimately, I mean, in number of deaths, in the amount of chaos it's supposed to be able to call, in which country or like which entity is going to have an Iron Dome, like Israel is still going to maintain a supremacy here.
For sure.
Brazil sees here, so I don't get fined. No, you're fired. Even worse. Galaxy, it blows my mind how hard American who allegedly values free speech are literally blacklisting people out here. And I'm too scared to even ask my family and friends they think about the conflict. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, we already had people getting fired for BDS stuff.
It's happening again. Like there was, I had a, instructor in college who was part of like I think it's like a Palestinian rights group, and there was an organization that printed up posters with drawings of him and two other people, labeling them as anti-Semites, and just threw them all over the campus.
Jesus. At Berkeley?
Yes.
Damn.
At UC Berkeley.
We used to be getting it cracking at San Diego State. Boy, we was having Palestine rallies. We was marching. We would be like arguing with the Israeli exchange student contingent. They be wearing their IDF shirts. We used to get it cracking. But a lot of us were like, we knew the conflict was different then, to be fair. The world was different. But yeah, it's funny because like nobody ever threw at us like, "Oh, you're anti-Semitic," like never. And I don't know, like maybe they just weren't trying to use that tactic back then. Like maybe it's like a new tactic, but they would never be like, "Oh, you guys are anti-Semitic," even though it'd be like the Muslim Student Association, and there were some anti-Semites in there. But nobody was ever like using like anti-Semitic arguments when we're like talking about the situation of the Palestinian people, But yeah, that's unfortunate. And like we saw, like Abby Martin had something. I forgot what exactly happened to her. I think it was in Georgia. It had something to do with BDS. We had states like wanting people to sign like you won't support BDS contracts like to workplaces, and just completely against the First Amendment here, and like so random. But yeah, I guess they're doing it again.
Do you
And
want
like
to? Do you want to see Cornel West debate Alan Dershowitz about over Israel and Hamas?
Well, I would imagine they're both like yelling, but
It's either that or Chris Cuomo, and I'm sure Alan Dershowitz would be funnier.
I mean, he's really debating Alan Dershowitz.
I mean, who else does he have to debate?
Like Alan Dershowitz will never say Israel made a mistake. Like,
Let's go. My. Oh,
Thank you.
come on.
Thank you. We'll check back in with him throughout the evening time. First, left-wing bigotry, anti-Semitism running rampant on university campuses around the world, London, Australia. What's happening? Chanting in Australia, about gas chambers and, for Jewish people. What is happening
wrong.
on our college
I condemn
campuses?
that.
Yes.
I completely condemn that. Like, if anybody, like those people are hurting the cause of the Palestinian people. Like, if anybody, like, people are trolling and whatever, or they think that that's what, out of their anger, what needs to be said. Like, you are a racist, anti-Semitic asshole idiot, and also you're not helping the cause of the Palestinian people
100%.
at all.
And feel free to pause whenever you want to.
What is happening among the Democratic Party? Some Harvard students now are scrambling to finally rescind their support of their vile letter, actually blaming the victim, Israel, for the brutal Hamas terror attacks. Not everyone disagrees with them. 2024 presidential candidate, former Harvard professor Cornel West said the students were largely right, but they lack nuance. He joins us now with reaction, along with attorney, also Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz is with us. Thank you both.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure who looks worse.
Not Alan Dershowitz.
I would you always call me Brother Sean. I call you Brother Cornell. I'm not that happy with you tonight.
I understand. We could talk about why
because we have 31 groups from Harvard. Harvard's supposed to be, I always thought, the top of the top. To get into Harvard, what an accomplishment, what an achievement, what academic.
There's never been a bigoted racist who's ever gone to Harvard.
Academic excellence you must show, a cut above everyone else. And 31 student groups blaming Israel, blaming the victim. And your answer to this is they are largely right? Hamas that murdered children?
You see the way he was pointing at him like that when he was like stating that? That shows you how little respect he has for Cornel West. Like that, that's like rude and disrespectful. And Sean Hannity is too old. Like he's old enough to know that that's like belittling to people.
Yeah.
And your answer to this is they are largely right? Hamas that murdered children? Hamas that murdered innocent people?
Read the rest of what I said, though, brother.
Okay.
Read the rest of what I said.
They are largely right, but lacking nuance.
No, I didn't say like nuance. That's the title of the piece.
Okay.
My actual words were, I'll just be very honest.
I got it here in front of me.
The words too, brother. The words were that Israel's policies of war crimes and collective punishment against Palestinians
I'll read it to you. Israel and the United States are primarily
responsibility
responsible
for killing innocent people. Anybody who kills innocent people are engaging in barbaric acts.
You said
no matter
Israel,
who they
hang
are,
on,
what color, what nation, and so forth.
Israel and the United States are primarily
And the United States has supported and enabled.
You explain to this audience. I want you to explain. How is Israel and the United States responsible for beheading 40 children? How?
I'm talking about the context. 545 Palestinian children died in August 2004. Not one American said a word. I believe a Palestinian baby has the same value as an Israeli baby. So when you have that kind of vicious hatred and revenge, you get response of hatred and revenge. They are all wrong. They're all war crimes. They're all to be condemned. But you cannot simply look at this particular moment without the larger backdrop of an ugly occupation and the ugly attacks chronically against Palestinians.
Those are not your words. Largely right. Israel and the United States are primarily.
He just said them.
Like literally, like Sean had it, like he's interrupting him. Like it's like not even like what's the point? Like What
Those
is
are
the
not
point
your
of-
words. He just said them. How are they not
like,
his
what,
words?
what is the point of going up there to talk to this person? He's not even listening to you. He's interrupting you. Like he's clever because he's doing that so the audience can't hear what Cornel West is saying.
Also, keep in mind, Sean Hannity is an Alan Dershowitz, and Alan Dershowitz is supposed to be the one debating.
Natalie, Alan Dershowitz, former employer of Natalie Portman.
We are 3 minutes, 10 seconds into the video, and Alan Dershowitz hasn't even talked. What is this, Power Report?
Responsible for this.
Also, I gotta go at 8.
Okay. Watching the clock then.
Attack, Professor Dershowitz.
Well, I complained when Palestinian children were killed, but I explained why they were killed. Here is one of the leaders of Hamas. For the Palestinian people, death has become an industry. The elderly excel at this, and so do the children. This is why we have formed human shields of the women and the children. Hamas is the ones responsible for the killing of Palestinian children. Also, Hamas has a term. It's called the CNN strategy. And the CNN strategy is induce Israel into killing Palestinian children by using them as human shields. Then
Yes, they induce the Palestinians and Hamas. No, yeah, it's Palestinians and Hamas, which are the same thing. They induce the bullets coming out of IDF snipers' guns.
They grab the rockets and freaking freebase the rockets. Dude,
Oh man.
parade the bodies out on CNN, and you'll see what happens. People like Cornel West.
They'll use the electricity that Israel has given them to parade the bodies out on CNN, using CNN and Al Jazeera.
Will engage in crocodile tears, blame it on Israel when the entire blame is on the Palestinians, Hamas, for using their children as human shields, and then using their children as shields to permit the killing of Israeli children.
What is Hamas's charter?
I have the same outrage when Palestinian babies are killed, when Jewish babies or Israeli babies. I want you to have the same indignation when
it's not gonna happen.
Literally, that's the 4K part of this, is that we're in agreement that they don't believe in all lives matter. They don't even believe in all lives matter. They believe that some lives just matter more than other lives.
Literally.
They literally.
Take out any context of the situation. Just like, well, what happened yesterday? Like, you guys aren't that dumb. Like, you can put context in anything else. Like Alan Dershowitz, you're freaking different lawsuits and allegations. I'm sure you're like, well, guys, you gotta remember, what happened a few years ago. But you can't do that for this situation. But I don't expect anything from Alan Dershowitz in this regard.
Charter.
I have the same outrage when Palestinian babies are killed, when Jewish babies or Israeli babies. I want you to have the same indignation when Palestinians are killed.
Not when they're killed. Not when they're killed by Palestinians. When you can't make a moral.
It's black on black crime.
Literally. He's like, no, they're shooting the babies.
Sorry. Go ahead.
The kids were killed in the bombings of Dresden. I didn't have the same comparison when Jewish kids were put in gas chambers and crematoriums. You're a professor of theology. Don't you understand the moral?
I love Cornel West just back in his chair, just taken aback by this. This is a really revealing sort of image here, honestly.
Moral difference between deliberately murdering a kid and having collateral damage because there are human shields. You're running for president of the United States. What would you do? Let me ask the question.
Okay.
What would you do if terrorists were firing at American children in America and the terrorists were hiding behind Palestinian children? Would you allow the killing?
When did Hamas get ICBMs?
And look, they're like, Fox News is like messing up the narrative for themselves. You think like this is like, look what's happening to this area in this bombing. You like, so the Hamas is holding the baby up. Like, that's gonna kill anything in a very big radius. That's a large area there.
Also, hey Ravana in chat, good to see you. Oh dear God.
Of Americans to continue, or would you go and get the terrorists, even if it meant possibly collateral damage on Palestinians? What would you do?
I'll tell you exactly what I would do. First, truth and morality tend to be two casualties in any context of war. I would want to tell the American people the truth. I would tell them what the context is, how we found ourselves in this situation. I would not jump for a military invasion and a genocidal attack on a
genocidal attack
on Gaza.
No, it's not a genocidal
where are they supposed to go?
When you're
where are they
killing
supposed to
terrorists.
go? This is like Warsaw, 1943. Where do they go?
Where do they go?
Yes.
Let me tell you where they go. They go to the UN. UN is keeping
What's the capital of the UN? Antwerp?
Take a jet ski to New York.
Right, those ICBMs like it's Dr. Strangelove.
What the hell? Go to the UN? Who the hell? What? When did the UN ever help anybody?
Does it mean like the UN Plaza, like the metro station?
like go. Okay, I mean, actually, I want to hear what he actually has to say after that because that's hilarious.
Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit back.
Where do they go?
Yes.
Let me tell you where they go. They go to the UN. UN is keeping
from Gaza to Geneva?
They go to no. The UN has places in Gaza. They go to the Rafah crossing.
11 UN people have been killed in the last few days.
They go to Egypt. They go.
Egypt
Again, Israel told them.
That dog?
I know, it's like Hamas's brutality on display, disturbing new images.
What the hell is
like,
that?
did they just AI this? There's a pizza on the bottom.
You know what's funny? Like, this is like looks like some training exercise. But what Israel's gonna do literally is they're gonna say we're gonna do a ground invasion, and they're just gonna show up and take pictures at like bombed out places with like, oh, we saved this cat. Like, it had a grenade strapped to it. We disabled it.
They killed in the last few days.
They go to Egypt. They go.
Egypt. That's what I was trying to say. Like, Israel told them to evacuate south. They evacuate south. They start bombing the south. Like, it's just, they kill a place where journalists, or like they strike a place where journalists are sitting. And this is not the first time they've done that. It's not the first time they've struck a hospital. Not the first time they've targeted civilians.
Yeah, and also if you
the baby's terrorists.
If you go to Egypt, are they going to let you back? Is Israel going to let you back? You don't know.
Yeah. No, Bam, we do know because the Palestinians will just use their passports and they'll just like go back. Oh wait, they don't have passports. Is that what you're telling me on the IFB? Is that they don't have? Okay, well, also, since when is Alan Dershowitz like? Oh well, I just talked to Egypt on the phone. And they've got all this room. Cairo's just like, yeah, this is welcome. We want to upgrade our food situation. Like it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Alan Dershowitz has like some pull in Egypt. Like I wouldn't be surprised.
Wait a minute. Let me make another thing clear. Gaza City is very dense, but Gaza itself, the Gaza Strip, there's lots of room. The Israelis have said, get out of Gaza City.
What the hell?
Jamie, can you Google that? I'm sorry. The whole lots of room in Gaza thing. I remember back when we did our original episode where I typed in Palestine.
Oh yeah. It was the size of what, Detroit or something, Philly? I forgot.
Yeah. This is the Gaza Strip. Gaza City is right here. This is the Gaza Strip. This is what he's saying. Oh, you will have all the space. This is what he's saying. Look, it's huge.
Also, like, what about older people? Like, what about like people that aren't mobile? What if you don't have a car? Like,
They're terrorists.
really? Like, dude.
The
like,
older they
it's such
are, the more radical they are. That's why it shows in their skin.
it's such a like silly argument that he's making. Like, it's just silly. Just say like, look, they deserve to die, and we hope they burn in hell.
Greater Israel.
Go to Rafah. Go to Khan Yunis. Go to other places. And you know what Hamas
With
is
no
saying?
water, no
Wait
food,
a minute.
no electricity,
You know what
all in
Hamas
the
is
dark?
saying? Hamas is saying, don't go.
Oh, I'm not here to
Don't
defend
go.
Hamas.
Well, you
No,
are here.
I'm not defending Hamas.
Wait a
Don't
minute.
you ever lie on me
Did
like
you
that, brother.
ever-
I'm defending the suffering of Palestinians.
I wanna hear how-
Hamas itself
I wanna
committing
hear-
war crimes.
I wanna hear you say-
Anybody who commits war crimes are barbaric. I'm saying that explicitly, but I want you to say if the Israeli Defense Forces are killing children,
No.
are they barbaric too?
No.
Are they ever barbaric?
No. If they talk,
What are we even doing here? What's the point?
That's why-
I would ask him, has the IDF ever done anything wrong? Like, just like, no, okay, then like we're done.
I don't know why I didn't expect it to be this 4K.
And also like this heated, like I mean, it says heated debate, but goddamn, this is a whole ass like grumpy old men. Don't ever lie on me like that, brother.
if they target children.
Yes. Have they ever targeted
No,
children? They have
absolutely
never,
never in the history
78 years.
have they ever targeted a
brother,
child
you got to get off the
deliberately.
crack.
Oh, wait, go back. You paused it at the wrong time,
I
man.
know. No. He's gonna say you gotta get off the crack pipe.
No.
Never.
What? Okay.
If they target children.
Yes. Have they ever targeted
No,
children? They have
absolutely
never
in the history
78 years.
have they ever targeted
brother,
a child
you got to get off the
deliberately.
crack pipe, man, please.
No, they
Please.
have never
You don't
targeted
think
a
they
child.
killed one innocent
Not
person?
purposely.
Since
no.
1948?
No, not
Are they
purposely.
that pure? Are they that
You don't know.
Okay, Alan Dershowitz has he's really reasonable. He's been talked down from they never do it to not purposely.
Not purposely.
So, you know, that gives him some wiggle room.
Doing this, like, what is he,
Thug
Run
life.
DMC?
We have to be very
Come
pure,
on, brother.
not to kill a
Please.
child. Not to kill a child.
Let me
They killed 550
Let me show
gangs.
Because they're
something.
being used as human shields.
Let me show something.
But we got
I would ask them, well, has the American military ever killed a child? Like who are the ones that kill children? Like, it's like, well, the Brown
the program last night.
on this.
What I'm about to show this audience, these are cartoons that are air in Gaza for young children that are taught to hate the Jewish people. You know, just watch this for a second, and I'll have you both comment. Watch that.
لأنه اليهود أطفالهم بعلموهم على الشراسة
It says the Jews teach their children to slaughter, to destroy, to kill, and to shoot.
والدمار والقتل والطخ.
To throw stones with her tender and the vicious faces of the enemy. The enemy saw her. He hated her childhood. He hated her heroism. He aimed the gun. He shot. I mean, that's just those are just facts.
Like, literally, what are we even talking about?
Brainwash and indoctrinate young children. That you're teaching them to hate from that young age. Not good.
No.
Here's the problem.
Any kind of
here's the
inculcation
problem
of
with
hate.
Meanwhile, let's make sure they don't teach about slavery to kids, because we don't want that. We want to teach them to hate here, not there.
Hatred is immoral and wrong.
Here's the
I just
problem I
want
have
my
with your
brothers
piece.
and others, if there's any hatred
on a
of
second.
anybody,
Wait,
including
let me-
Palestinians,
Would you
wrong
condemn
too.
Black Lives Matter Chicago for justifying the Hamas murder by using these little airplane things and coming down on the music
260.
event?
But I didn't
want to
say-
hear.
Will you defend this random group you're not necessarily affiliated with, other than, you know, the whole skin color thing, because they posted a meme on a dying social media site?
I would certainly condemn.
What?
It's just like it's just so silly, because it's like, okay, do you think there's no Israeli people that say like terrible racist things ever? Like, there's no like what do you call it? Hespera? No,
Hezbollah.
no. What is the word for like the Israeli propaganda? I forgot. Like they say terrible shit too. Like these are just people. They're gonna say terrible shit.
You condemn Black Lives Matter.
I would condemn anybody.
Okay.
It's not a matter of
I'm
skin
glad to hear
pigmentation.
you.
This is morality and spirituality.
Okay,
no,
so you condemn Black Lives Matter.
Part of our challenge, though, and this is important just as a leader, you see, he asked me what I would do. I would say we've got to end occupation. We got to
This
make
has
sure
nothing to do
that
with the
Palestinians have
occupations.
the same dignity, the same rights as Israelis.
Let me ask you a
That's
question.
at the center.
Here's
That's
my-
You
at the
know
core.
I support that.
guys,
you know
that's
I
at the
support
core.
the two-state
But I don't see
solution.
you-
But Hamas doesn't
Two-state
support the
solution.
two-state solution. Hamas opposes
Professor
it.
West, I want to ask this question. Would Gaza be facing annihilation if Hamas did not attack and kill all these innocent Israelis?
Of course not.
Gaza has been facing
You're not
a
answering.
chronic
Would they be
process
facing
of
an imminent
He's
annihilation?
answering. Jesus, he's answering. God
Since
damn.
2000.
Would they be
And
facing
2000 and
imminent
what? 2000
annihilation?
and what?
Since 2006 and 7, and Gaza was taken over by Hamas. I'm not
And they
pro-Hamas.
start-
I'm pro-democracy, but I'm concerned about the suffering of Palestinian
Israel
folk.
didn't fire a single rocket until Hamas fired 5,000 rockets.
Israel controls the
starting
land, the air,
only after
containment,
Hamas
the
took
food
over.
going in, the trade.
Gossip Girl, thanks for the
They
follow.
had settlements. They had settlements in Gaza before that. They literally had settlements before that.
As we all know, Israel and Palestine just started existing in 2006, or even in the 2000s.
Literally. Jesus. When did Bill Clinton go there? That's what I'm going to find out.
Before the British.
Only after.
And so, but it was already under occupation
It
since
was never.
1967.
No. The occupation ended 2005. Learn your history.
Oh.
Sharon left. Every American, every Israeli settler, every Israeli soldier left. In 2006, it was like Singapore. It could have been the nicest place in the Mediterranean.
Oh my God.
It's like Singapore. You know, if China could turn off their water.
That's insane.
Then Hamas
You don't
overthrew
think
them.
New York would be in the occupation if another country owned its air, its space,
It didn't
its food
own
going
it
in, its
between
trade?
2006
There's containment,
and
brother.
2008.
There's containment. Let's be
Only
honest
after
about it.
Hamas
Let
took
me
over.
let me end with this.
Yeah.
Here's a sad fact. This debate could not be held on Harvard's campus today.
That's
correct?
right. That's right.
Why not?
If you want, if anything, it'd be because the people hosting the debate would be accused of anti-Semitism and they'd have to cancel it.
Literally.
Like, what are the... God?
Bill Clinton visited Gaza in December 1998.
Okay.
Like a real one.
Oh my God. It's just been a lot. This has been a lot, and it continues to be a lot. Do you think there will actually be a ground invasion? You said no earlier because Netanyahu can't risk the troops.
If there's a ground invasion, it won't be real. They're just like that image we saw of the bombed out area. They're just gonna like have Israeli soldiers go where there's no people and just have them like, you know, pose like this, and they'll take pictures and video. But they're not gonna like, and they'll like shoot
The
at
puppy?
nothing. It'll be like that. I don't think they're gonna like do a ground like they'll. I don't think they want to have a ground invasion where they actually engage with Hamas fighters. If they do that, like Netanyahu is like way less politically savvy than I thought he was, because he's already looking bad that 1,400 Israeli people have died already. But once they start seeing Israeli soldiers, like on top of that, it's like, damn, dude, like the Israeli civilian is like, you bombed all of, I thought you were, they're killing us, the soldiers too? Like, damn. So I don't know, like it just wouldn't be smart if they actually try to do it, because 2014 was bad. So I'm gonna, but I've seen both. I've seen that they're gonna, and I've seen that they're not gonna.
There's this belief also, because unfortunately, like, my ability to see what the right wing in America is doing is now PBS NewsHour. I mean, kind of always was, but it. I heard that basically Israeli officials are like, well, the reason we are starting to get hostages back is because we've been bombing Hamas so hard. So we're going to continue doing that to get all the hostages back.
If you were actually bombing Hamas, you would have been killing the hostages. Where the hell do you think the hostages are? With their uncle? Like, they're with Hamas.
At a Farmont state.
Like, right? Like, if you were bombing Hamas, you'd be killing those hostages. So, like, obviously you're not bombing them, dude. Like, you fucking idiot.
The
Like,
way you
no,
said
dude.
that with, like, you said that with your chest. You were so angry.
It doesn't even make sense. The hostages are with the people that got them, dude. And honestly, like, if they go in to try to fight Hamas fighters on the ground to engage with them, it's gonna be bad. They're gonna lose fighters, and it's always been the case in this. It's always been the case in this conflict. When Israeli soldiers die, like back when it was like kind of tit for tat attacks, like when like Hamas or Islamic Jihad would like shoot up a checkpoint and like some Israeli soldiers would die. That's not like in Israel. That's not like the end of the world big deal because those are soldiers. You know, they're on the front line, so to speak. In this situation, it's gonna be different because if Hamas like kills a soldier and like gets that body, or like God forbid, kidnap them, oh, they're gonna have him saying all kinds of shit on that video. They're gonna be like, say the shahadas. You better recite a bunch of Quran right now. Say hummus is from Arabs and not Israel. Say couscous is ours. Like they're gonna be on that video saying all kinds of shit. Say Debka is ours. Say fuck Netanyahu. Say fuck Ariel Sharon. Is he still alive? We don't know. Like that's gonna be so embarrassing. Like don't like, dude, just just wind the shit down. It's over.
I've got.
It looks worse internationally for Israel to keep on like bombing from the air. Like I don't know how much. I don't know like what that means for them in the long run. Like countries don't really give a shit for real. But it looks worse if they keep just like bombing. If they put troops on the ground, like people are not gonna have the same like oh my god, like they're just bombing. Like they won't have the same reaction. But it's gonna be worse for them.
Hi Rosalba 14, good to see you. I'm gonna do rapid fire with you, Bam, because I got you for 9 more minutes apparently. But
yeah,
okay. Mike Johnson is the new Speaker of the House. We are about a year out from the election, and I don't know if you will be on at the exact year mark, but for posterity, who do you think would win?
Win what?
The presidency, Biden or Trump?
Oh, Biden. And I don't think Mike Johnson's going to last that long either.
You think there's going to be another force to vote?
I'm still hanging on Trump's not going to run.
He's running already.
Well, he's not going to end up in the election. Me and Michael Cohen agree on that.
Oh, like he's going to be convicted before then?
No, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I don't think he's going to be like in the race when it comes time for voting.
And you think Biden will?
Yeah, I mean, there's a thing called walkers.
There's also a thing called Werther's Original, which they tend to like at that age.
Oh, I used to love those.
She's such an old man.
I also like oatmeal raisin cookies. So.
Those go hard. Mike Johnson has been in Congress for 6 years,
Okay.
6.8 years, almost 7 years. It's the least experienced House Speaker in 140 years. He's an
Nice.
evangelical. He's
A
was part.
truther about the election.
Yes, he's a truther about the election, which is why I'm saying if Mike Johnson holds out until 2024 and Donald Trump is still in the election, that's bad.
I think Mike Johnson, not to be confused with the former American track runner Mike Johnson. I think when he's in that position, he's gonna get his shit together. He's not gonna be on that bullshit, dude. Like he's not gonna go in there and be a whack job, is what I'm saying.
I kind of don't believe you.
Okay, well, I mean, we'll see. I mean,
People magazine. Who is Mike Johnson's wife and what to know about their covenant marriage?
what the hell is that?
Let me fix this StreamYard. Let's see. Oh no. Almost closed OBS accidentally. Let's see. Went to Louisiana Tech. Where is the covenant thing? She and Johnson are in a covenant marriage, a stricter type of marriage that prevents couples from divorcing until at least 2 years after their wedding and only under certain circumstances.
Sure,
Covenant
prevents
Covenant marriages are only legal in 3 states, including Louisiana.
I mean, that's just corny. Like, but like, whatever. I mean, it's America. It's really conservative. I mean, my grandparents in Alabama lived in a dry county. You couldn't buy alcohol there at all. America is, especially that region. It's very conservative, and that's cute. Do your thing, buddy. Sure. But she was at Louisiana Tech, and there's football players.
Word.
With dreads and gold teeth.
It's weird. I think it's a toss-up right now, like election-wise. I think if Biden's alive and if Trump is eligible, widely to be believed, and running right now, with all the stuff going on in the geopolitical space, with all of the economic things that people are feeling weird about, like, because Joe Biden's not really delivering things for people that they feel tangibly, and he's kind of just hoping that Republicans punch themselves enough and he can just kind of point to that and go, not them, right? I think it's closer than it needs to be. Like, I wish I could more confidently say it.
I mean, I agree with that for sure. I think it's always too close. Like, but I don't. I still stand on. I don't think Trump has the same amount of support that he once did. I just don't really feel like he's really cracking like he was. And voting time is different. Like people kind of hunker down a bit. And I don't think people are, I don't think a lot of people are just wanting to do that circus again. Like, and just, I feel like the Trump shit, it's not over, but it's just like, it's not cracking how it was.
Yeah. I guess that's it.
Are you gonna play that game?
Yes, I am. That's kind of what I've been impatiently waiting for you to get off.
Okay, well, I'll get the fuck out of here then.
I'm kidding. I may or may not have started the game before we were going live, and it's lovely. Great.
Okay. Well, the only game I like to watch people play is Apex, so I'm not gonna be tuning in.
That's a shame. Bam, thank you for joining.
Of course, my pleasure. Love Power Report so much. Bad Lefty, the homie, Rosalba, the homie. There were some other people in here that had some really good things to say.
Ravana.
Philippe, Ravana was here for a second. Philippe, hopefully you learned something from the beginning of the podcast or the stream. And Bad Lefty's from Ireland and is typing out the word hella America.
Love it or leave it. It's an open air prison. Thank you, Bam. We will talk soon. Peace.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to have to figure out how to set up this stream. Because also that shooter in Maine was arrested. That was a really tragic thing. We had, I think, let me bring this scene, but I thought the news last I saw was that law enforcement was outside of his home. Or at least they may be outside of his home, but I don't know if he's barricaded in his home. But yeah, that was 18 people left dead, multiple people left injured. Nothing's gonna change in America. We hate that. Anyways, I am going to Looney Tunes 9000 switch to Love Is Mafia. No, don't. Wonder what's going on there. But I'm going to do oh yeah, what I'm gonna do is City Skylines. So it's a city builder game. I enjoy it greatly because of you just build a city in it, build a town. It's kind of really relaxing. So I have to do some configuring, I think, with my computer here to get it going and get it working. So I am going to do that. I'm going to take the quickest of breaks. So be back in like 1 minute. And I will run an ad during to be efficient. So yes.
Hey, yo, Quantic, run them bands up.
Marilla, what the fuck is this?
Hey, yo, Quantic, run them bands up.
Marilla, what the fuck is this?
All right. This is gonna break my computer. But yeah, here we is. Building my city here. Oh yeah, this is super gonna break my computer. Let me downgrade the resolution. That usually. Yeah, my computer's. See how long I can. And maybe try it in StreamYard. So yeah. A little faster. Slightly smoother. So here's my town. It's Retroit. Instead of Detroit. And yeah, it is brand new because I have just started building thing. Let me actually include the game music. Why not? Usually I have the sounds all muted. Let's enjoy this wonderful music they've made. I think it's kind of pretentious, the music, personally, so. Turning down the volume a bit. Can be a lot. So yeah, I have. Sorry, the music is too distracting. But basically the way it'll work is that I will have demand in the bottom part of the screen. And that will sort of influence what I need to build and what my city wants. And I have to keep my city happy with services and electricity and resources like that in order for, you know, me to do good at said game. So I can move this a bit closer. Yeah, now that works. As you said, I've got these streets. Really wants me to build some industry, but I need some roads first. Yeah, I just need so much more room to build some of these industrial things. You can see there, as I add industry, the little bar will go down. His demand will do. Sounds like a little economy type thing. Want more shops. Give them all the shops they want. But yeah, this game is really soothing. Honestly, I usually like to play with unlimited money, but I want to try to be good at the game first. Yeah, my OBS crashed. Whoopsie. So, yeah, this is touch and go here. May not be the most successful double stream, and that might happen again. But I'm not outputting in HD anymore, so hopefully that doesn't kill my OBS too bad. But yeah, we'll see how this. Closing. And I'm playing on like the lowest settings too, so